Greetings to you, fellow Zambian citizens. This morning, I wish to put clarity to some issues that have become a source of concern to our presidential candidate, President Brian Mundubile. As you are aware, I'm the chairperson in charge of presidential affairs for the Tonse Alliance, whose presidential candidate is President Brian Mundubile. And so through this engagement, I wish to put clarity to these issues that are now in public domain. The first issue I wish to speak to is the issue of the propaganda and innuendos being spread by unscrupulous individuals suggesting that our presidential candidate, President Brian Mundubile, is not going to make it on the presidential ballot for the August 2026 general election. Now, those of you who are familiar with the laws of this country are aware that the qualification and disqualification for any candidate to vie for any elective position, be it at the councillor level, mayoral level, MP and presidential, are clearly prescribed in the constitution of this country. And from where we stand as a Tonse Alliance, our presidential candidate, Presidential Brian Mundubile, meets all these set criteria. And as such, we are very confident that come rain, come sunshine, President Brian Mundubile is going to be on the ballot paper. And by this decree, all members of the Tonse Alliance and sympathizers are being urged, starting today, to go flat out and campaign for President Brian Mundubile using any means available, both conventional and unconventional. Now, this means take advantage of your church groupings and church gatherings to spread the word about Brian Mundubile. Take advantage of being a marketeer, a trader, a businessman, because we know how much you are hating because of the poor policies of the UPND. And so we expect you to use or translate your frustrations into energies to campaign vigorously for our preferred candidate, who is President Brian Mundubile. This also includes those of our friends who are sympathetic of the Tonse Alliance who are working in the public service. By the words of the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, it has become very clear at the hands of the UPND that civil servants can now openly engage in politics for as long as those political activities do not compromise their professional standing. And so you, our friends in the public service, teachers, as you are writing on the board and teaching your pupils, especially those of you who are in tertiary institutions, please spread the word of Brian Mundubile. You, our colleagues who are working in medical facilities or health facilities, as it were, doctors, nurses, as you are jabbing the patients, remind them that the hour of change has come, and our preferred candidate is President Brian Mundubile. And so, this matter must be clarified anywhere. When you meet people suggesting that our presidential candidate is not going to be on the ballot, please clarify that matter. Tell them our candidate meets the criteria that is set by the Constitution. It therefore implies that any legislation today going forward on any schemes that our friends may try and employ that will go contrary to what is stipulated in the Constitution will find us very prepared. The second issue, fellow citizens, I wish to speak to is more of an appeal to members and sympathizers of the Tonse Alliance. From where we stand as a Tonse Alliance, we regard all the opposition players not as enemies, but our potential allies. Because the common enemy to the Zambian people today has become the UPND. The UPND have destroyed our people's lives because of their poor policies, because of their selfish agendas to enrich themselves. Corruption has become rampant. Terrorism has now gone from the markets and bus stations into offices, such that even sensitive offices are now being handled by typical cadres. And so, we expect that all members and sympathizers of the Tonse Alliance to disassociate yourselves from altercations that will further spread divisions in the opposition. The desire of President Brian Mundubile is to unite the opposition, because like they say, united we stand. But if we remain divided, we are likely to fall to this enemy. And so it is our desire as a Tonse Alliance to continue pushing the agenda of unity in the opposition. And so, as members of the Tonse Alliance and